Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday. Welcome back to the attic for a very special Saturday edition of our chats here in the attic. Today, I am very excited to welcome Dr. Jill Biden, the next First Lady of the United States, here to chat. As you know, she is an educator herself. I am very happy that we'll be sending a teacher to the White House. And I'm excited to have this opportunity to chat with her a little bit more today, just to get to know her and our future first family a little bit more. So I know you probably have a lot on your mind. I've got a lot of questions for her. So let's welcome her in now. All right. Let's give Dr. B just a minute to log on. Like I said, I spent so much time out on the campaign trail talking about teachers and children and education, and I'm very excited that somebody's going to be headed to the White House who understands just what's at stake for our nation's educators and children. It means a lot, I think, to have somebody in the White House who also has some experience in the classroom, and especially someone who is teaching at a community college. I started my collegiate career at a community college. It was very important for me. I'm excited to ask Dr. B a little bit about that later. And then someone who's also been very visible on the campaign trail like she has been, who's out there listening to people's stories and understands what's at stake in this election. So let's check here, see if she's here. There we go. Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. Thanks.
Look at your beautiful background.
I know.
Is that what? That's real, right? It's not a green screen.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
It's so rainy and dreary here in South Bend, so that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Well, today is really nice and sunny, and you can see I only have a sweater on, so I'm sitting outside. It's beautiful.
Oh my goodness, I love it. Well, so starting off, one of the things I think that was hardest on the campaign trail, and you were very visible and active on the campaign trail before isolation, and for me it was, we're like two ships in the night with our husbands, never at the same hotel 2 nights in a row, never at home. So I feel like there's maybe a little silver lining there for you, that you get to see each other every day.
I know. Although it's been pretty busy. So,
yeah.
Joe's been on the phone constantly and talking to governors and, doctors and nurses and healthcare workers. And so actually we start early in the morning and keep rolling. 2 nights ago, I was on the phone doing a video chat with 13,000 teachers, which was so exciting. Yeah, it was the NEA, which is my union. And, they were talking to me about how they see the future of education. Where do they see things going? What do they want? What's important to them? So that was pretty exciting. So every day is different. And, we just keep rolling, and we're trying to campaign from home. So it's not easy, but we keep working on it.
Well, we're very grateful for all of the hard work that you're doing, but I am glad that you get to see each other, because that was just one of the hardest parts of campaigning, was never seeing one another. Outside of all of the hard work you're doing, though, I hope you're finding a little time for yourself at home. Have you been enjoying any perks of being home, or do you have any recommendations for us have you been watching any fun TV shows or movies?
Somebody told me, I forget what's on tonight, that they said was supposed to be good. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. What was Hallie, what was the one for tonight?
Bad Education.
Bad Education.
Yeah, with Allison Janney. Yeah.
Yeah. So so that's on tonight at 8. So, I think I'll be watching that after the, our Soul of Saturday presentation.
We're excited to tune in.
What are you doing? I mean, what have you been doing?
I've been hosting these Instagram chats just because, belonging was a rule of the road for Peter, and I just want to bring people together and, share some laughs and spread some joy. And when we came home, our attic up here was a, mothball infested storage unit, and I livened it up a little bit, and, Peter's been building an office downstairs, building bookshelves, and I'm just really enjoying being home and spending time with the dogs and taking a deep breath. But it's been interesting going, from 100 miles an hour to 0.
Oh, yeah. And it's so funny. I mean, I'm looking behind you. I mean, you are looking behind me. So one of the things that happened, was, I don't know, Joe was on some show, and then and then we were shelf shamed. That's what I call it. So somebody wrote about our bookshelves and about how they were all messy. And I felt like saying, yeah, while you're home styling, I mean, we've been talking to nurses and doctors and talking about the
You're a little busy.
So anyway, that was a little surprising that we were shelf shamed.
Yeah, Peter assembled these bookshelves really quickly, and then we just threw some books up on the shelf, and I don't know who he did a hit with, and he was shelf shamed as well. And I think that's funny now that we're all in isolation, everyone's judging one another's backgrounds. So
really, with everything that's so serious going on, maybe we just need, I don't know, a little laughter, a little lightness.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's okay. So if you don't mind me asking, I kind of want to start with the love story. I was wondering if you could tell us just a little bit about what it was like when you met Joe. And rumor has it that once he got around to proposing, it took him a few tries.
Yeah, it did. Well, so let's see. We started. It was almost like a blind date. Joe's brother went to college with me and suggested that Joe ask me out. And so he called me a Saturday, much like today, in the middle of the day, and said, "Hey, I'm home for the night, and would you be available to go out tonight?" Well, I had a date, so I said, "I'm sorry, I have a date already." And so he said, "Well, I'm only home for one night. Do you think that you could cancel it?" So I called the guy I had the date with, and I never heard from him again, by the way. But I just wanted to go out with Joe once. I thought, well, I don't even know what a senator does. And so I like to tell the story that, and you may have heard it on the campaign trail, how, it was the early 70s, and everybody I dated wore bell bottoms and tie dye, and I had real long hair, and he showed up at the door in a perfect suit and these leather loafers, and I thought, thank God this is only one date. But we went out, and yeah, I know, I never had planned to go out with him again, but we hit it off. It was a total surprise to me, and so one of the things I loved about him from the beginning was when he took me home, and how you are the first date. And I thought, oh, is he going to try to come in? What's he going to try to do? And he shook my hand goodnight, and he said, "I'd like to see you again." Wow. And I ran up the stairs. It was 1:00 in the morning. And I called my mother and I said, "Mom, I finally met a gentleman." Oh. And so that impressed me. And wow. So we started dating, and of course Joe had 2 sons. He had lost his wife and daughter in an automobile accident. So right from the beginning, it was like the 4 of us dated. It wasn't just me and Joe. I mean, Bo and Hunter were with us all the time, whether it was the movies or dinner or my going over to his house. It was always the 4 of us. And even when we got married, at the UN chapel, and surprisingly to us, we went up onto the altar, and we turned around, and the boys were there too. It was like, hey, we're all getting married together. So it's very sweet, really. And but he did have to ask 5 times, because I had to be absolutely sure, that the marriage was going to work. So, yeah. And it did. I mean, my gosh, do you know this will be 43 years this year? Wow. Married.
Congratulations.
Oh, thanks.
I think, if I could offer any advice to anyone, if you really want to test a marriage, run for president.
Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it? That is the truth.
It's something that we get to hang over their heads forever.
Yes, forever.
So you're an educator as well, and I believe this is the first time that you've stepped away from the classroom. Do you miss your students?
I miss them too.
Yeah. Oops.
keep in touch with them. I mean, they're texting me all of the time, and so I do keep in touch with a lot of them. But this is the first time, and this is the 1-year anniversary of when Joe announced for president.
Correct.
And I have to tell you, Chasten, that morning I watched him announce. I was at home. I watched him announce. I got in the car. I drove to school because I had to teach that day. And I got out of the car, and I remember, putting on my book bag over my shoulder and thinking, oh, my God, my husband just announced for president of the United States. It was so surreal.
Yeah.
So this is 1 year later. It's hard to believe.
It flew by in a way, but it also felt like the longest year that I've ever lived, because it was just full of so much. There's so much there.
Yeah. What was your favorite memory from the campaign trail?
Oh my goodness. I met amazing people, but I spent a lot of time in New Hampshire, and met a few families who often traversed the state or came wherever Chasten was, bringing snacks. And it was the personal stories that I got to connect with, specifically a family who had 2 kids, and the son was going through a lot at school and was getting bullied, and his school was very homophobic. And throughout the year, I would see him every couple of weeks, and he would update me on how he was starting, a club at school, and then he had finally got a pride flag at school. And, I got to give him advice every couple weekends when I was visiting. And it was just people like that, people who you met, who shared some of their deepest vulnerabilities and fears with you, and you got to make them feel just a little bit better.
And that's one of the beautiful things that you and Pete did on the campaign trail. I think you gave so much hope to so many young kids, and really, that meant so much. It really did, and I loved,
Thank you.
At the debates when we would go together. We would all the spouses would go up on stage, and you'd go up on stage and hug one another, and it was just really such a beautiful moment. It was nice to see. America is changing.
It is, yeah, and it meant so much to me, especially to meet people who never thought that we would get there. Never thought that Pete would exist. Someone could run for president.
Yeah,
that meant a lot. And then just hearing people's stories. What about you? I mean, the trail is grueling, but it's also rewarding. Do you have some memorable moments to share?
Well, I think I spent more time in Iowa than New Hampshire in the beginning, and I thought that the stories about the farmers, which a lot of people, I don't think, especially in urban areas, don't think about the lives of the farmers. And when they think about, when I visited so many farms, and they'd say, how much do you think we make a year? And I said, I don't know. I had no idea. And they said, in a good year, we make $10,000. That's a small farmer in Iowa.
Yeah.
And so one or the other of the spouses had to go and work somewhere else to pull in income. And I think we often forget rural America and some of the challenges that they face, whether it's loss of health care or look who just popped up.
How are you?
Mr. Vice President, nice to see you.
Now, I got to tell you the other half of this love story here. You know what I mean? How she didn't want to go out with me and all that. After the second week, I said, look, I'd prefer you not go out with anybody else because it just causes a lot of trouble. She said, okay.
It sounds like you were quite...
So I just want you to know, I realize I'm the poor relative here. I get it. Good to see you, Chas. I'll let you guys go. I don't want to get in the middle of this.
Oh, no.
They've always got to butt in, right?
Yeah, exactly. As spouses, we can say that. We have a lot in common. I'm sure we might not want to discuss them here, but I'm sure we have a lot in common.
That's true. That is true. So, I was talking just before you joined the chat, as a fellow educator, somebody who understands what it's like to be in a classroom, who has been spending so much time in the field of education. I am so excited for you to be the next First Lady because
thank you.
I think we need somebody, I know we need somebody in the White House who gets it. What else energizes you about the platform or the office? What are you excited to do with that platform?
Oh my gosh. I guess, well, of course, I'm going to be promoting community colleges like I've always done. And military families, I mean, you know, another issue I'm sure is close to your heart as well, but
Right.
we are a military family like you are, and our son served a year in Iraq. So I want to support military families, and I'm also going to be working on cancer. Because of the death of our son. And so many families, I mean, most families in America know someone who, you know, has dealt with cancer. And I think we really need to pay a lot more attention to the issue and change the face of cancer as we know it.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you taking that on as well. My mom's been battling skin cancer for the last 12 years. And I think we need to tell more people's stories, especially as it relates to that. I'm so excited for you both to be in the White House, because I think something that is just lacking in the people's house is morality. And I think that office is a moral office, and you get to set the tone from that office. And I am just so energized to see you both there.
Yeah, we definitely have to.
Oops, the connection.
Oh, the connection? You lost the connection?
That's the joy of these things. And I always find it's right when you're having a really special moment or someone sharing a really special story, the connection just flats out.
Yeah. Look, that's Natalie, my granddaughter.
Hi.
Hi, Natalie.
I don't know whether you met her on the campaign trail or not. She came out a lot to Iowa and New Hampshire. I don't know.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Well, I have to ask. So we're celebrating your 1-year anniversary of launching the campaign today.
Yep.
We're calling it Soul Saturday. To you personally, because I think all politics is personal, what's at stake in this election?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have?
Well, we have all day. I have all day. You don't.
There's so much at stake. I mean, we have to change so much of, I mean, just healthcare, education, gun control. Gosh, there's so many issues that we have to start to turn around the direction of this country. And as you know, it's going to take leadership, and so we're going to pull in everybody from the Democratic Party, and everybody's going to play a role. And you know, it's just, there's so much to do. And I said to Joe the other day, I said, my gosh, when we win, this is going to be so overwhelming, trying to get people back to having jobs, unemployment, rebuilding the infrastructure of our country.
Right.
Just, I mean, there's so many things that we need to work on.
Absolutely. And it couldn't have been, I mean, it can't be a more important election. Everything that we care about in our lives, everything that's super important to us, like I was saying, you know, my mother in her battle for cancer, thinking about LGBTQ equality, the courts are on the line as well, and what would happen should we fail to secure the courts. And so outside of all of the things that this election hinges, or that hinge on this election, it makes me very happy that we'll be sending 2 people to the White House like yourselves, who understand what is needed there as well. So I'm very grateful that we'll have you as the next First Lady. Is there anything that you want to leave us with, how we can be helpful?
Oh, you can, anything you want to do, you know, come on down, because anything you and Pete want to do, I'd love to have you. I mean, you're already going to be, you know, helping us with different issues, and the rest of America may not know. We're all working together on different things, like, you know, like we're saying, education, healthcare, climate change. I mean, we have committees set up, and so you're already going to help us with that, because we all need to be pulled together to change the direction of this country. So anything you want to, you know, step in and help us, any area, you know, you want, we would love to have your help.
Well, thank you. And I think I speak for Peter as well. I think he's downstairs trying to keep the dogs quiet, but we're so appreciative everything that you're putting into this. Thank you for all of the hard work that you've done. And I know it's going to be a long battle going forward. I got a little taste of what it's like to be standing next to the man who's going through on the roller coaster of the elections. I'm with you in spirit, and I'm here to help however I can. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to chat with us today.
Thank you. Stay healthy. Love you guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye-bye. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Dr. B, for spending your time with us today. Like I said, I'm energized to do everything I can to help Joe Biden become the next president of the United States and to make sure that Dr. Biden becomes the next First Lady of the United States. It's a time for morality and leadership to be restored to the White House. And like we were talking about, so much depends on getting this election right. And I think another way that you can help is reaching out to the people in your lives and talking to them about why it's important to elect Joe Biden. I'm talking about my mother. I tell her story every single day because I need the healthcare system in this country to get better because, Obamacare saved my mother's life. And now we need to improve that system and make it easier. As a teacher myself, Dr. B gets this. I need things to improve in the education system in this country. I think about my students every single day. If you want to make improvements on LGBTQIA equality in this country, racial equality in this country, everything that we want to move the ball on, it all depends on making sure that we elect Joe Biden the next president of the United States. If you want to be helpful today, you can text Joe to 30330. That's again, Joe 30330. Reach out to the people in your circles. That's enough. Maybe you're sitting at home twiddling your thumbs wondering how you can be helpful. That is enough. Chip in whatever you can. Take care of the people around you. Spread that kindness and make them feel like they belong in this party and in this campaign as well. Thanks for joining me again up here in the attic for a special Saturday chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Biden, for taking the time. I will see you all next week. Take care.